It's much more than the palms in the sunny beach.
What's up, Miamians? It's your neighborhood ASHELY, and this is How to Make It in Miami. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss ASHELY Gantt.
Hi everyone, my name is ASHELY Gantt and I'm an attorney, a former teacher, and I am a candidate for state representative here in Miami for District 109. District 109 includes some of downtown, Overtown, Alapata, Liberty City, Brownsville, West Little River, all the way up to Opelika.
Now, this will be my first political interview, so if I say anything wrong...
You good, just ask.
This will be like the first race you're doing?
Yes,
to win?
So this is my first time being a candidate for a political office. And it's a very interesting experience. Mm-hmm. And I will say that everybody needs to be involved in this experience. Like, we definitely need to be voting. Mm-hmm. We definitely need to be encouraging 18-year-olds. Even in Florida, you can register your 16-year-old to vote, and then they'll be registered to vote at 18. Mm-hmm. So we really need to, especially in the Black community, we need to make sure that we have this consistent practice of voting in every single election. All the local elections matter the most. Mm-hmm. All of them are important, but they matter the most because those are the people making rules and laws for us every single day. Mm-hmm. And so every single time you see a new roadway or a new neighborhood or a new city being established, like anything like that, that's local. Mm-hmm. And then you have state works closely with local, and then you have federal, and federal, deals with the whole country, mm-hmm. but specifically addresses things in our community or in our state. Mm-hmm. And so I'm running for state representative. Okay. The person that I'm running against he's been in office 30 years. Mm-hmm. So on and off since 1992. Mm-hmm. People like to talk about millennials and how we don't want to do this or we don't want to do that, but mm-hmm. We are out here doing, the work. We are out here making sure that we're okay. Mm-hmm. But we have to step up in this area now. Mm-hmm. This 2022 session, I was paying attention. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like I was saying that, one day I'm going to run for office and this is like my ultimate life goal. My ultimate life goal is to serve my community in whatever capacity that needs to be done. And so this is the particular area that I saw my community needed somebody to be an advocate, someone to give them a voice in the legislature. Mm-hmm. Because Florida is changing, Miami is changing. Miami looks very different from when we grew up.
That's right. Always trying to preach.
Right, it looks very different. So we have to be engaged in that process because the taxes, the rent is outrageous. We have to be engaged and can't just let stuff happen to us. And so that's why I decided to run.
Okay. So how do we know? I know everyone says that this is the most important election. How do you get the community to know more about it? Because I feel like the presidential one, they make it really, really big and you kind of have to focus on it. Yeah. So I think that as a community, it's got to be maybe a way to get us more involved or known.
We just got to start paying attention and being proactive with what we're looking at. Everything impacts us because it comes from the governmental level, whether it's local, state, or federal, mm-hmm. right? The people that we have in office all across the state of Florida are making decisions for our everyday life. Mm-hmm. And so if you feel like this is affecting me, my family, my friends, so on and so forth, who is responsible and representing me to make sure that my interests are being advocated in Tallahassee? Mm-hmm. Marco Rubio, and this is very important, is being challenged by a Black woman, Val Demings. Mm-hmm. She needs to beat him. We have to beat Marco Rubio. Mm-hmm. He's one of the ones that continue to say that the 2020 election was stolen. He doesn't care about any gun reform. Mm-hmm. He is corrupt, in my opinion, and I think that goes further than my opinion based on the votes that he's cast and the positions that he's taken. Mm-hmm. And so they voted along their party lines instead of what was the best interest for the state of Florida and to the country. Mm-hmm. So Val Demings is challenging them for him. So we definitely need to get him out and her in. I know the NAACP, they host different forums and debates. I kind of had to get involved because I'm a lawyer. And so it's those worlds kind of overlap a lot. And so I knew people who were running for judges and everything. And so that's how I got really into it. And because judges, that's a very important election that we have in Miami. Miami-Dade County has not ever elected one black woman judge in a contested race. So we have one black woman judge, Judge Delancey. She was elected, but she didn't have any opposition. So she was elected by without any opposition. All the black women judges who have run with opposition, they've never been elected. And there's I think 1 million black voters registered in Miami-Dade County, and we have a low voter turnout. So we see that there's a consistent turnout with older black people. So 60 and up, they are the consistent voters. They are the super voters. But what I see in my district in particular, black women, Hispanic women have the largest populations in the district. Black women first, and then Hispanic women next. And then the second largest group of voters is 31 to 35 in the district. So the last election in 2018, where the current representative was running against Cedric McMinn, which is my cousin, 6% of people turned out to vote. It's 170,000 plus people in the district, but about 10,000 people decided who was going to go to Tallahassee and represent them. That's 6%. That's a very small number. So we have to think about, like, okay, people say one vote doesn't matter. There are literally elections that are won by one vote. One.
I think that they need to understand that these local one votes really matter, because being an attorney, did you see like things wrong that it shouldn't be into place?
So I started off as a public defender, and I love criminal law. So now I have my own law firm. My law firm is Gantt Legacy Law, and I'm a solo practitioner. So it's me and my paralegals and my assistant.
Congratulations.
And thank you. Whew, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I have some days where I'm like, oh, I remember why I do this. And some days I'm like, what am I doing? And it's hard. It's, people think that you have all the answers, but sometimes I got to do like 5 or 6 hour research to make sure I have the right answer. But I love being a lawyer. That has been my dream since I was a little girl. Part of it was like, I didn't think that I would be cut out for politics, because I have opinions. People, I'm very vocal with my opinions, and so I felt like I had to silence myself, so to speak, with going into politics. And so I was like, I don't want to subject myself to having to silence myself and then being scrutinized by people all the time. And so that kept me, away from it. As soon as I became a lawyer, my first judge that I was in front of as a public defender, he told me, he was like, you should. He was like, you ever thought about running for office? I was like, nope. No, thank you. And as I continued to grow in my career, a lot of people were like, you should run. I'm like, I don't know what y'all see, but thank you for the nod of, confidence, but I'm good. And then now I'm running because my community needs it. It's about me seeing that our generation, like millennials, we are in our late 30s, in our 40s. And it's been thing after thing, recession, after this, after that. It's been so many pandemic. It's been so many things in our adulthood where we're just like, a lot of people just like, man, like, how am I surviving? What's next? And so, correct. Like, how am I going to do this? And so I just feel like if you are not at the table and vocalizing your position and the position of people that live like you, look like you, have the same experiences as you, you're going to be silenced. And so I saw what was and wasn't happening with the current representative, and I'm like, this person is supposed to be representing me. And I'm a doer. So I complain, yes I do, but I also look for solutions and enact those solutions. And so this was part of my solution. Just going out and meeting people, it takes a lot out of you. But that's the part that like makes me remember, oh, this is why I'm doing it. Because it's sometimes, you know, people have stuff to say and they're like, oh, you should be doing this, or don't wear this, or you need to look like this. And I'm just like, I'm here for the people. Exactly. This is who I am genuinely. I don't have any ulterior motives, because I got to be very transparent. I got to tell all my business to anybody that wants to see it in a public office. And that's really intimidating.
And it's crazy, but to me, sorry to interrupt.
No, you
but I know you from always an authoritative level.
Yeah.
Like being on an auxiliary. So it's always like you had that in you, whether you didn't know it or not. It's just that on your lawyer level, they saw it bigger in you. So I think that it's always been in you. So you got my vote. If I could vote. Because isn't it
where you live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be out in the field then.
Yes, I need that help. I need that help. I need all the volunteers. I need y'all to call some people for me. I need y'all to go to knock on doors. Like, I'm serious. I need so much help. He's a 30-year politician. He is the most reliable Democrat to vote with the Republicans. So every time the Republicans want to say it's bipartisan means like they introduce a law, and when it becomes bipartisan, it means Republicans and Democrats vote for it. He is a Democrat that votes for those bills that are not helpful for us. He voted for the abortion bill. He voted abortion ban. He voted for the don't say gay. He voted for the protest bill. The protest bill that was put in place as a response to the BLM protests that happened in 2020 as a response to Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. He voted for that bill. And it was specifically attacking Black people marching, which we've always done, which is part of how we have continued to mobilize throughout history in this country. I need the help, because we can complain, but like we can do something too. And we actually do have power. We have every single vote. Like all these people that's like, oh, I don't vote in every election. You should start voting in every election, because it's some younger and still like seasoned elected officials who do serve the community. And we shouldn't allow people in office to think that our vote, is expected and it shouldn't be earned. This man has a 15% effective rate in his position. After 30 years, you mean to tell me you only 15% effective with bringing money back to your community? And that money, for the most part, was secured by the senators that cover the district that he has. So Senator Pizzo and Senator Jones, they're the ones that's bringing back the money. If I'm at a job and I'm successful 15% of the entire 2 years that I'm there, do you think they're gonna keep me? Like, that's how we have to start thinking about things. We have to look at, what is this person doing? And hold them accountable.
So when is the election? When?
The election is August 23rd. So July 25th is the deadline to register to vote and to check and see if you're registered to vote. What people don't know is they're purging people off of voter registration. So they're taking people off who haven't voted consistently. Voted like in 2016 or 2014 or whatever, and you haven't voted since, but you know you registered, don't assume that you're still registered to vote.
Okay.
You have to register or check to make sure that you're still registered to vote before July 25th.
Okay.
People who have convicted felonies, they can vote. So if you're a convicted felon, if you're labeled as a convicted felon, right? Amendment 4 in the Florida Constitution allows you the right to vote. The Republicans came back and added like a little loophole that said, oh, you have to have all your fines paid. The United States says you cannot have a poll tax on a person to vote. A poll tax is basically like, a poll tax is like charging a fee for people to vote.
Okay.
There was lawsuits filed that this is a poll tax. Eventually, and this is why elections matter, because when you get to the federal level, federal judges are for life. And who appoints them? The president and the Senate, they do that. And the Congress, basically. So they have to go through those channels. And if you have a judge who's been appointed, who's not qualified, but is a Republican or has raised money for these people, and the Republicans have the majority in the Congress, guess what? Those people are going to be on the bench. So when laws like this come up, who do you think they're going to side with? And they shouldn't. They should be impartial. But we know this is not a perfect world. Okay? So there was legislation, and now what has to happen is you have to pay your fines. However, there are organizations that will assist you with paying your fines so that you can vote. Okay. One is the Florida Restoration of Rights Coalition with Desmond Meade, his organization. You can contact them if you have a convicted felony and you want to vote. Contact them and ask them, what kind of assistance they can give you. You can also petition to the court to convert your outstanding fines to a civil lien. What does that mean? If you come into some money, they're gonna come after that money. It's a lien, but you'll be able to vote, and it'll convert those fees. So change them from a fee to a lien, and you'll be able to vote. So July 25th, you have time, y'all. Please, I don't care. Like, you ask 5 people, and you tell those 5 people to ask 5 more people. Okay. You can just request your ballot. You can go to blackout.vote, and you can go on there and request your mail-in ballot. That is an initiative started by Senator Jones, and he is a senator in Miami. So it's blackout.vote, and you can go on there and you can request your mail-in ballot, and you can vote from the comfort of your home. The actual election is August 23rd. Okay. That's the primary election. The general election in November is November 8th. That's when we vote to get a new governor. And new senators. So it's the senators, so Val Demings and Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is funny because he's been doing a lot of outreach with Black communities. Okay. Val Demings will be the first Black woman to ever be elected as a senator in the state of Florida. So we need to, not just because of that, she's an effective elected official. So we need to have her in office. And then the governor's vote. And then there'll be other things on the ballot. I highly encourage people to, look it up. You can see a sample ballot, who's going to be on the ballot. You can look that up. But for me, if you live in my district, it's from 22nd Street down to Flagler Street in downtown. So Biscayne, west of Biscayne. Then we go to Overtown, and then we go to Allapattah, Liberty City, Brownsville, up to some part of where Arcola is, West Little River, where Miami-Dade North is, all the way up to Opelika, and it stops at 151st Street in Opelika. So from 17th Avenue, like 95th Street and 17th, all the way to 17th and 151st, that's my district. Okay. All the way to 37th Avenue.
Oh. So what is something you would tell your younger self?
Then being hard doesn't mean you can't do it. Like, what I'm doing right now is really hard. And I'm still telling myself, like, okay, girl, you can do this. You can do it. I would tell her to value herself in the sense of, if you don't feel appreciated, especially in romantic relationships, it's okay to leave it alone. Like, you will be okay. I will tell her that loving me for me and not living according to like what people expect me to live like is going to make me the happiest. My 30s have been tremendously amazing. And so I fully embrace like me. I didn't think I had to be a certain way, act a certain way, or I just, in my 20s, I really thought that. I really thought I had to be like this, and if I do this, then things are gonna work out. But life is gonna happen anyway. And I would definitely say be present and happy in that present moment. In my 30s, I really started to embody being present. And I wish I would have done it a little more in my 20s, actually a lot more. And travel. I didn't travel as much as I do in my 30s as I did in my 20s because I thought I had to be responsible and this and that, girl, child.
Do you think that was pressure on you because of what?
I mean, I thought that, so I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. So I was like, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize like me becoming a lawyer and being able to be admitted to the bar. And so I was just like really afraid of doing something wrong. And when you are afraid of doing something wrong, that leads you to not experience certain things. Like just doing stuff, you know? And it wasn't like I didn't do anything, but I was very, very measured. And I think I could have given myself a lot more grace to be like, you know, you're young, you'll figure it out. But in a way, like, I'm very grateful for that, because now I'm like, they were asking me like, all right, you know, they have to do like a screening, not a screening, but asking you like, what skeletons you got in your closet? I was like, child, I've been boring, okay? The most you're gonna get is like in my 30s after, you know, I decided to live some or live a lot more. And then now in my 30s, I'm like, child, I don't even want to engage in stuff. Like, I'm too, like, I'm beyond that. But in my 20s, if I would have given myself the opportunity, I probably would have, you know, traveled a lot more and not been worried about saving this or whatever. Yeah, like, I don't regret my 20s. I don't regret it. I shouldn't have talked and dated some people. I would tell myself, girl, don't date this person. A couple of them. But yeah.
So how do you make it in Miami?
Making it in Miami starts with your community. I think you find your community, like your personal community of people that you care about, that care about you, that you can share moments with. And I think that spills out into the greater community. I know that when we were growing up, we had a really good childhood. We didn't have everything. We didn't have all the money in the world, but we were able to go outside with our friends, be outside till the lights turned on and come in the house. You know what I mean? Like, we have to create that environment for our kids and other kids to still know what it feels like to be a kid and not have to be scared. You know, we have these school shootings, like gun violence is outrageous. Where are they getting these guns from? How are they getting access to it? And let's go a little bit further and say, how are we making them realize that their life is valuable? And so is another person's life. And whatever trivial beef there is, it's not worth a life. So how to make it in Miami, it starts with the community. And then I would say, I want to say doing something you love, but that also starts with, or that also goes back to, who are we electing? Because wages need to go up. Y'all going up on rent, y'all going up on groceries, y'all going up on gas, but you trying to pay me the same amount of money. The math ain't mathing. So, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out. Honestly, I take my happy moments when I have them, and I'm very transparent about my difficult moments. I think making it in Miami is stop trying to act like you got it all together. Because people want to put on this face like, oh, I got this and this and this, and you aren't happy. Be real. We all got something going on. We all struggling with something. And Miami is about the aesthetics. And it's so much about the aesthetics. And I think for me, I've taken a personal campaign of rebelling against the aesthetics of Miami, because I'm like, I don't care. Like, even in high school, I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna look how I want to look. I don't want to look like everybody else. And even if somebody looks like that, doesn't mean that they should get more respect than somebody else. You know? And so, like, even with my hair when I went natural, like I went natural in 05. Hardly anyone was natural. And I cut it off and I went back to school, and I was just like, okay, like, here I am. And that was even a process. But like, we see, you know, times evolve, people's mindset changes, and I think that in Miami, especially Black Miami, we have to like really invest in the substance of people. And because like people out here risking their life so that they can rob or steal, or, you know, just to get some money so that they can buy something that would quote unquote give them status. And it's ridiculous. So I think making it in Miami is about, you know, being more loving to each other and saying hi if you pass somebody on the street. Because Miami, you know, we have an amazing culture down here. So many different experiences. Like, you know, you can go to one Bahamian, Jamaican, Haitian, Cuban, Venezuelan, Colombian, like Puerto Rican, Dominican restaurants, and you go to your soul food restaurant. You know, you have all these different experiences. And so we just have to be protective of that and really get involved in what is going on in regards to leadership. Who are we electing? And really support those who are about the community, because it's a lot of people who are about the community, and so we gotta support them.
How can we reach you?
Okay, so I am on every social media platform. So my law firm is Gantt, Gantt. There's no R in my name. Gantt Legacy Law, and you can find me at Gantt Legacy Law on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is www.ganttlegacylaw.com. And for my campaign is Gantt, Gantt, for Florida. So on Facebook and Instagram it's FOR, Gantt FOR Florida. And then on Twitter is the number 4. So Gantt 4 Florida. And my website is very simple. It's ASHELY.vote. That's it. ASHLEY.vote. Put it in the browser and it'll come up. Elections are August 23rd. And if you like to volunteer, you can go on ASHELY.vote and sign up. You can DM me. You can text me 786-505-0133 and say, hey, I want to sign up. My email is campaign@ashley.vote. And yeah, so that's how you contact me.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. High school classmate.
I know, right? So cool.
Thanks.
Learn how to make it in Miami with ASHELY.